In the gripping opening scene of our story, we encounter a woman who has been unceremoniously abandoned at a hospital, her body bearing the marks of a brutal attack. As fate would have it, a doctor steps outside for a smoke, and his gaze falls upon her. Recognizing the urgency of the situation, he quickly alerts his colleagues, who rush to her side, desperately seeking answers. All she can utter is the name Nick. The scene then shifts to a lively club in Las Vegas, where Nick Escalante is enjoying a drink. Soon, a strikingly beautiful woman named Doris enters, instantly capturing Nick's attention. She saunters over to her table and removes her coat, exuding confidence. Just then, a car pulls up outside, and another man named Osgood arrives at the club. He's late for his date with Doris and offers an apologetic explanation, revealing his intentions to propose marriage to her. Unexpectedly, Nick approaches their table and asks Doris to dance, but she declines, igniting his fury. In a fit of rage, he begins to mock Osgood, snatching off his toupee and escalating the tension. Unable to stand by while Osgood is humiliated, Doris drags him outside in an attempt to leave the situation behind. However, Nick continues his taunts, following them out of the bar. Osgood reassures Doris that he can handle Nick, despite his apparent age. He once was a fighter in his youth. In a bold move, Osgood retrieves his toupee from Nick and warns him to back off. He then confronts Nick, attacking him in a surprising display of courage that impresses Doris. Osgood forces Nick to apologize, which he reluctantly does. In a moment of triumph, Doris rushes to embrace Osgood outside the car, calling him her hero. As dawn breaks, Nick, a seasoned freelance bodyguard armed with lethal skills yet grappling with a personal gambling addiction, rises to start his day. He climbs into his car and heads to work, unaware that a young man named Cyrus Kinnick is soon to cross his path. Cyrus, seeking Nick's expertise, has been directed to him by a neighbor who spoke highly of his services. Eager to explore the vibrant world of Las Vegas, Cyrus expresses his desire for Nick to act as both a tour guide and protector during his visit. He candidly shares his concerns about being disrespected due to his youth and unassuming appearance, prompting him to seek out someone with Nick's formidable presence. Intrigued by the opportunity, Cyrus asks Nick to share a glimpse into his life, hoping to better understand the man he is considering hiring. In response, Nick opens up but can't resist injecting humor into his narrative, weaving jokes into his explanations. Ultimately, Nick agrees to Cyrus's proposal, ready to show him the ins and outs of Las Vegas while ensuring his safety at the gambling tables. Later that day, Nick meets with his close friend Osgood, revealing that their earlier confrontation was merely a staged act intended to impress a woman. Osgood hands Nick $500 for his services, along with a promised bonus of another $500 for the performance, though Nick graciously declines the extra pay. As the day unfolds, Nick finds himself in a diner where he confides in Roxy, a waitress and trusted friend. He reveals his ambitious plan to leave Las Vegas behind and retire in Corsica for 5 years, a dream that requires $500,000. Just then, Roxy delivers a message from a woman named Holly, inviting Nick to stop by her house after he finishes his drink, hinting at another twist in his already complicated life. Upon arriving at her home, Holly, the woman who had been abandoned at the hospital, steps forward to embrace him. As a professional escort, she recounts the harrowing events of the previous night at the Golden Nugget Hotel. After finishing a date, she entered the elevator and encountered 3 unfamiliar men who forcibly compelled her to accompany them to their room. The one who appeared to be their leader was the first to assault her, followed by the other 2. Once they were done, they callously left her at the hospital's emergency entrance, leaving her to grapple with the trauma of the ordeal. Holly approaches Nick with a desperate plea, offering him $100 for the first hour of his time to help her uncover the identities of the men who assaulted her, so she can pursue legal action against them. Nick, however, advises her to reach out to a lawyer or a detective instead. Frustrated, Holly questions why he won't assist her directly. Drawing on his experience at the Golden Nugget, Nick warns her of the organized crime that operates within the hotel's walls, reminding her that he had previously cautioned her to steer clear of such danger. He reveals that the hotel's owner, known as Baby, had once attempted to recruit him into his illicit operations, but Nick had firmly declined, establishing a mutual understanding to avoid crossing paths in their respective dealings. Seeking more information, Nick approaches a housekeeper named Millicent, hoping she can shed light on the man at the Golden Nugget who is always flanked by 2 intimidating bodyguards. They agree to reconvene later at a cafe after Millicent gathers the necessary details. When they meet, Millicent divulges that the man is named Danny DeMarco, the son of a notorious mob boss from southern Italy, and she provides Nick with the room number where he can be found. She reminds Nick that she owes him a favor for his past assistance and implores him not to interfere with Danny's affairs, emphasizing the potential danger of crossing such powerful figures. Afterward, Nick calls Holly to let her know that he didn't manage to gather any information from the housekeeper he spoke with. Sensing that he is withholding something, Holly opens up about the traumatic events of that day, reminding him of her unwavering love for him despite the challenges he has faced. Her words carry a weight of longing, as she expresses her need for his support in her time of crisis, just as she has always been there for him. That evening, Nick meets Cyrus for a tour, guiding him through various bustling casinos while his mind remains preoccupied with thoughts of Holly. In search of a quieter atmosphere, he takes Cyrus to his favorite spot, where Cyrus attempts to learn more about Nick's life, but Nick remains distant and evasive. As Cyrus immerses himself in the excitement of the gambling table, Nick stands aside, grappling with the significance of Holly's last words. Overwhelmed by his emotions, he makes the impulsive decision to leave Cyrus at the casino and drive straight to Holly's house. Upon arrival, Nick reveals the name of the man responsible for her assault and provides her with the room number. However, he quickly realizes that Holly is not interested in pursuing legal action. Instead, she confesses her desire for revenge against those who hurt her. She urges Nick to confront them first, weakening them so she can have her chance at retribution. With a heavy heart and a sense of purpose, Nick drives to the Golden Nugget, preparing to confront Danny under the guise of being a partner to Baby. Danny's bodyguards usher Nick into the inner sanctum where Danny awaits, subjecting him to a thorough search. With tension hanging in the air, Nick confronts Danny about Holly's fate. In his characteristic arrogance, Danny dismisses her with a callous remark, labeling her an escort. He then brazenly offers Nick $50,000 for him and his friend to forget everything that transpired. In a moment of miscalculation, Danny mistakenly refers to Nick as a pimp, prompting Nick to brandish his credit card as proof of his true standing. Attempting to leave the conversation behind, Nick is met with Danny's chilling reminder that escape won't come easily. He intends to teach Nick a lesson that will deter others from crossing him. Danny demands that Nick extol his virtues, threatening him with a gun if he fails to comply. When Nick refuses to play along, Danny orders his men to deliver the punishment he so eagerly promised. A chaotic brawl ensues as Nick fights back, using his credit card as an improvised weapon against Danny's henchmen. In the midst of the chaos, Danny attempts to shoot Nick, but he skillfully evades the bullets and brings Danny down, binding him tightly. At that moment, he calls for Holly, who strides in with a determined look. She confronts Danny, asking if he remembers her. As she retrieves a pair of scissors, fear washes over Danny's face. He hastily offers Holly the $50,000 from his safe as a means of reconciliation. Holly takes the money but does not relent. Instead, she contemplates inflicting pain on Danny that mirrors what he had subjected her to. She demands he beg for forgiveness, ensuring he understands the gravity of his actions. Overwhelmed and sobbing, Danny complies with her every command, pleading for mercy as he echoes her words. With a sense of relief washing over her, Holly and Nick prepare to leave with the money. As they make their exit, Nick urges Holly to flee the town, warning her that their enemies will soon come for them. He insists she take all the money, but when she refuses, they agree to split the $50,000 evenly. With the weight of their ordeal still fresh in his mind, Nick heads towards the casino, fully aware that danger lurks just around the corner. Nick begins a game of blackjack with his dealer friend, Cassandra, feeling a surge of optimism that tonight is his lucky night. He starts with modest stakes of $5 and $10, but as his confidence grows, he boldly raises his bet to $1,000. His fortunes soar as he rides a remarkable winning streak, until Cassandra's shift ends. With her departure, Nick decides to take a break and meets up with Cyrus. Yet, an undeniable intuition tells him that his luck hasn't run out, compelling him to return to the gambling table. Determined to increase his stakes, he requests a raise but is met with refusal. Undeterred, he chooses to take every position at the table for himself, igniting an impressive series of wins that draws the attention of the pit boss and curious onlookers. His victories propel him past the $500,000 mark, culminating in a final triumphant bet that brings his total to an astounding $506,000. Afterward, he shares a drink with Cyrus, who inquires about his future plans. Nick reveals his intention to retire, filled with dreams of a new life. As he stands to cash out, he asks Cyrus to accompany him, but suddenly, a wave of anxiety washes over him. The thought of $506,000 feels insufficient for the retirement he envisioned, igniting a reckless impulse to gamble once more, convinced that luck is still on his side. In a moment of sheer audacity, he places all $506,000 worth of chips on the line alongside the $25,000 cash he received from Holly. Unfortunately, fate takes a cruel turn as he loses the bet, leaving both him and the crowd in stunned silence. Retreating to the restroom, Nick grapples with self-recrimination for his greed and impulsive choices. Overwhelmed by regret and despair, he turns to alcohol for solace, drowning in thoughts that spiral out of control until he ultimately loses consciousness. The following day, Nick awakens to find Cyrus waiting for him. Cyrus explains that after Nick passed out, the staff assisted him, thanks to a generous tip from Cyrus. With a serious expression, Cyrus confides in Nick that he needs his guidance. He seeks mentorship on courage and resilience, hoping to combat the cowardice that he fears will haunt him in his later years. As their conversation unfolds, it becomes clear that Cyrus, having become a millionaire at just 19, is offering Nick a tantalizing deal. If Nick helps him build the strength to face life's challenges, Cyrus will ensure Nick's own wealth in return. However, Nick turns down the proposition and heads downstairs, craving another drink. Moments later, DeMarco's men arrive, demanding his presence. Anger simmers within him as he momentarily relaxes before chaos erupts in the bar. Seizing the opportunity to unleash his pent-up frustration, Nick fiercely confronts the men.
I used to know with in the snow.
Overpowering them with brutal efficiency. Just as he gains the upper hand, the police burst onto the scene, intervening and escorting him away alongside a group of suited individuals. Nick finds himself driven to the Golden Nugget to meet Baby, the notorious Mafia boss of Las Vegas. Baby informs him that a complaint has been lodged regarding an incident where Nick allegedly broke into a room and killed two men, with Danny as the sole witness. Baby leads Nick to confront Danny in an attempt to resolve the situation. In a tense exchange, Danny recounts how mercilessly Nick attacked him and his bodyguards, his voice dripping with resentment as he demands that Baby exact punishment on Nick for his actions. Nick shares his perspective on the unfolding events, revealing that he does not resort to guns for killing, contrary to Danny's claims, which indicates that Danny is attempting to frame him. He further informs Baby that Danny bears 2 cuts on his manhood, hinting at a possible motive behind their confrontation. This revelation prompts Baby to demand that Danny drop his pants to substantiate Nick's assertion, emphasizing the gravity of the situation and the risk Nick is taking by speaking out. When Danny refuses, Baby realizes that Nick's violent actions are provoked, convincing him to take charge of the matter and pursue the true culprits behind the deaths of his bodyguards. After Danny departs, Baby warns Nick that retribution is inevitable, but Nick appears resolute, ready to face whatever comes next. Later, he visits the Silver Spoon Diner for a meal, where he unexpectedly spots Cyrus sitting nearby. Cyrus expresses his fear of leaving Las Vegas and labels Nick a coward as well, yet he also expresses gratitude for the lessons he's learned from him. In a surprising gesture, he gifts Nick $500,000 and a plane ticket to Corsica. Nick acknowledges the gift but insists it's too late for him, as he believes his life is in imminent danger. Suddenly, Danny's men storm into the diner, but Cyrus ingeniously distracts them by singing, providing Nick with a crucial opportunity to escape. Outside, the men pursue him, and Danny commands them to search relentlessly while Nick hides, armed only with a spoon and a table knife for defense. Faced with no other option, Nick resolves to confront Danny and his men directly. Systematically eliminating them one by one in a fierce showdown. After dispatching all of them, Cyrus approaches Nick again, offering him the $500,000 check and the plane ticket to Corsica. Initially hesitant, Nick ultimately accepts the gifts after Cyrus's insistence. He then drives back to the motel where he has been staying, determined to leave Las Vegas for good before Danny's father can seek vengeance on him. Thank you for watching. If you're new, don't forget to subscribe for more recaps until next time. Have a nice day.